subscribe and press that bell notification. You want to hit it with your car or smash it with your hand, just do it, but subscribe. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. And thumbnail से आपको पता ही चल गया होगा कि हम आज किसके बारे में बात करने वाले हैं. Fortuner की ओनरशिप रिव्यू थोड़ी सी and 5 things I like and dislike about the Toyota Fortuner. So let's get right into it. चश्मे तो भूल ही गए. नहीं, ये वाले भी नहीं. ये ठीक है. जैसे ना लेंस कार्ड का एड शूट हो रहा है. तो anyways, let's head down straight to the parking. Let's go. अरे यार, शॉर्ट तो चेंज करना भूल ही गए, तो चेंज कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, लेट्स गो. We're back. तो चलिए रिव्यू स्टार्ट करते हैं. So let's quickly start with the short ownership review. Before this current generation Fortuner also had the earlier Fortuner. Actually, let's go sit inside the car and talk. So basically, before this current generation Fortuner that I had the earlier Fortuner, which I think both of them collectively have driven about 150 kilometers across the country, which is quite a lot. And mostly the long drives that we've done have been endurance drives. That means we've done Pune to Ludhiana direct, and both ways we actually did direct, which is about 30 hours with full load and full luggage, and that car ran non-stop. I think that speaks volumes about a car. And when you push the car so much, it can still take it. And we've done, say, Pune, Kerala, we've done Pune, Pondicherry, we've done Pune, Ladakh, Pune. I mean, we've put the Fortuner through its paces. Mind you, fully loaded with 4 people and luggage. Fortuner managed in Ladakh without a single problem. We had one incident where the Fortuner climbed over a boulder at 20 kilometers per hour in Ladakh because the boulder came rolling down. But the only thing that happened is the steering alignment went out. That was it. We had taken it to Toyota Ludhiana, and the mechanic came out with just one spanner, and I asked him, I'm like, are you sure it's going to be okay? He's like, sir, this car is built like a tank. And after that, we drove that car for 45,000 kilometers. Imagine, after that, 45,000 kilometers we drove that car. No issues whatsoever. So, I mean, that really kind of made us trust Toyota even more, and that's why we bought the new generation Fortuner, not the Endeavour. Why we didn't buy the Endeavour? At that point in time, the Endeavour was fairly new, and there were a lot of issues that customers are having, so that's why we didn't really go in for the Endeavour. Let's quickly get to 5 reasons why I like and don't like about the Fortuner. So we're going to start off with 5 things that I don't like about the Fortuner, and then we're going to move on to 5 things I like about the Fortuner. So the first thing that I don't like about the Fortuner is, so in the earlier car I never had this problem, but in this car, can you see this? I mean, this is the quality of the plastic on the main bumper, which I don't think I expected from a 40 lakh plus car. Not really. I thought it would be a little more sturdy. The car, mind you, is very sturdy, no doubt, but this is something they fell short of. It feels a little flimsy on such a huge car. In terms of look, I don't know, the earlier Fortuner looked a lot more butch than this because the design language that they've used is a little Lexus, and the headlights are a little sleek. So for a car that's this big, I expected it to be a little more chunkier headlights. That would have given a better look to the car, but I guess that's the Lexus design. Some people like it, some people don't like it, so that's again debatable. Another complaint that would be there is about the gearbox of this car. So basically the gearbox is CVT gearbox, so when you basically rev the car, the RPM would pretty much hold on to itself and would really hesitate from upshifting. So it hangs onto the gear for even longer before it upshifts into the other gear. So that's a little problem, and sometimes because of that you can feel a little roughness of the engine, which comes into the cabin. I'd say like 10%, 15% comes into the cabin, which definitely could be addressed. So next thing that we talk about is of the interiors. Although this is a 40 lakh plus car, but the interiors don't all look that much. I would say an interior like this would probably belong in an Innova. Whereas the music system is something where I felt they could really improve. There is no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay in this car, so you can't really screen your maps onto the music system, which is a big drawback because this car is meant to tour and to cover long distances, and you always need maps. So you only have to rely on the navigation, which by the way is 4 years old and they don't update maps. The music system is very basic. I felt honestly they need to get an Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I felt Maps is a big drawback for me because I have to switch it on my phone and drive when I'm doing long distances, because Maps is something you really rely on. This clock, for example, kind of looks a little dated. So, I mean, Toyota could have really worked at the interiors of the car. They've generally used wood. Some people like it, some people don't really like it. But overall, I do think they could have worked at the cabin. I think the new Fortuner that they've launched has beige leather inside, so you got beige leather instead of dark leather, which makes the cabin feel a little small than it actually is. Let's show you behind. Behind you just got an armrest in the car with cup holders, which is a good feature if people are sitting behind, so that's good. But apart from that, no real features behind. It's comfortable, no doubt. They got a lot of leg room behind. You got leather stitching on every door, which is nice. It gives a little premium feel. But overall, they could have really made this a more premium experience in the back seat. So yeah, that's somewhere where they could improve. Overall, it's not a bad experience to sit in this cabin. It's a great cabin, no doubt. Just that it could have done with a little more premiumness. It's very utilitarian in nature and could be a lot better. I don't really have any complaints per se with the cabin. I just feel that it's very utilitarian and practical in its nature, if I may say, compared to its rivals like the Endeavour and the Skoda Kodiaq, which are a lot more premium, and you know that the moment you step into those cabins. Now, quality of those cars, Skoda is good, but the Endeavour interior quality might be a little questioned. People have had a few issues. So yeah, I mean, in terms of looking at its rivals, the interiors could be a lot more premium. Another point about the interiors is they're missing a sunroof, and for a lot of people in this bracket, or for a lot of Indians actually, the sunroof is very, very important in a car.
Fuck! Give me a rag, Drake, hurry up! Fucking goddamn window, you fucker!
In a car of this segment, all its rivals have a sunroof. The Autoros, the Kodiaq, the Endeavour, all those cars have a sunroof. And the Fortuner doesn't, because they have to have AC vents.
What the beat?
Guys at Toyota are listening.
What the beat?
I mean, a sunroof would have made a huge difference. Imagine you're taking this car to a safari, or you're driving, or you're just, say, in Ladakh, and you're in the open stretch of road. Just open up the sunroof and come out of this car. I mean, that'd be great. Or you're doing like a river crossing and you can get out and off the sunroof and shoot a video. Whatever it is, just a car that's meant for adventure, I think, should definitely have a sunroof. It just adds to the whole experience. So another thing that does get me, actually, after a long drive, because we drive for so many hours, is the cabin noise. I mean, except if you're, say, between 100 and 110 is where you don't hear the engine when it's sitting in 6th gear and just cruising. That's a good space. But otherwise, you can always hear the engine. You always know what the engine's doing. Let me give you an example. It's quiet right now. I'm going to start the car and you can see for yourself. So right now I've just started the car and there is considerable engine noise that filters in. I'd say about 30-35%, 40% filters into the cabin, and when you really want to overtake or rev this car, you will definitely hear this engine. They've definitely improved from the last gen Fortuner, no doubt. That car was like really noisy, but they have a long way to go in terms of sound insulation. Definitely can be improved. I've driven the Endeavour and the Kodiaq, and honestly their sound insulation is better. So, for people who are enthusiasts, who really like that rugged sound from their car, beautiful. I mean, you can't ask for anything better because it's not too loud, it's not too soft, but you can hear the engine. I personally like it. Sometimes I like to hear that engine growl. I don't like it to be completely silent. That's my preference. Some people don't prefer to hear the car engine, so for them it's bad. That really sums up my points for what I don't like about this car. Now coming to the points that I like about this car. So this is the car you want to have if you want to intimidate people on the road. And there's nothing like this out there. Probably just Ford Endeavour that comes closest in terms of road presence, but this car is really great in terms of road presence. It is massive, it's huge, and people will see you coming. And if you're on the highway and you flash someone in this car, someone's driving ahead, they definitely will move because this car is big and you really can't avoid it. So if you're someone looking for a lot of road presence, this is the car you should be looking at. These are the bi-beam LED headlights and they are really, really powerful. I've driven them through the night with these headlights and I've never felt that at any point in time needed more illumination. They are perfect. And for anyone who knows me, by the way, knows that I love having extra lights because I do a lot of night riding. So look at this, on my bike I have 4 aux lights. So if I am saying that the headlights of this car is adequate, they are really, really good. These headlights are spot on and 10 out of 10 for these. So I think another reason why most of the Toyota owners would buy their cars are the reliability of the Toyota brand. I mean, this brand is really reliable. The cars they make are very reliable. The Toyota Fortuner is probably one of the most reliable cars that I have had. Despite putting it through its paces in Ladakh and it climbing over a boulder or doing these endurance drives that we do, this car has done it all, and touch wood, till date it's never given us an issue. If you want a reliable car that won't give up on you despite whatever you put it through, the Toyota Fortuner is the car for you. You might give up, but this car, it's never going to give up. This car has two driving modes, which is the Eco and the Power mode. The engine of this car is a 2800cc engine, and I think more than the VHP, the torque in this car is immense. This is the automatic 4x2 version. It has so much torque. It's way more powerful than 3000cc old Fortuner. This is 2800cc, but even then this car feels so amply powered. Like, you would never feel underpowered if you're overtaking another car, or if you're, say, in a sticky situation and you need instant power to get out. Put into power mode and just shoot and the car will go. But if you're buying this car and you want that grunt and that power, definitely this car has it. The automatics have the most amount of torque in the range. And if you're buying this car, you're not really going to go on a racetrack with an SUV. You don't really need blistering performance, but you need good enough performance to get those overtakes on your highway. That's all the kind of power you need. It's got low end torque. It's got a very good mid-range, and that's all you need in an SUV that you're using for cruising. So some reviewers have said it doesn't have adequate performance. I completely disagree with them. I mean, this car, it's pretty good. So I don't know what they're talking about. If you want to really know how successful a car is in the market, its resale value does really give you a good indication. And this car could be probably 1 lakh kilometers driven or 2 lakh kilometers driven, and it would still have really great resale value. So if you're looking at a car that would have a great resale value even after you use it to upgrade to your next car, this is the car you should be having. So as a final verdict, this car is one of the most reliable cars. That's why we rely on it to go across the country. If you see the numbers compared to its rivals, you'll be surprised. Even though this doesn't have so many features, when you put the numbers of its rivals together, it still sells more than that. You're willing to give up those few frills to have a product that's really solid and would stand by you. I mean, in spite of whatever you might put it through, the Toyota Fortuner is the car for you. So anyways guys, thank you for watching this short review. Short to nahi hai, but anyways, thank you for watching it. Tell me how you liked it in the comment section so I can keep making such videos. And stay tuned. It's a detailing channel, and there's going to be detailing and everything about cars, because I'm crazy about cars and bikes and everything in between. If you've seen the video till here, either like if you like the video or dislike if you dislike the video. But please, like or dislike. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. I will see you in another video in another car. Till then, drive safe and take care. चल गया होगा कि हम आज किसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. बाल तू नहीं सुधरेगा.